Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and this is my Granny Era. Today I'm sharing with you guys my March book haul. So I just kind of collect everything that I have picked up book-wise throughout the month, set it aside, and then at the end of every month, I like to share with you guys all of the things that I grabbed. I like to keep a pretty large TBR. Both of these shelves here actually are my TBR bookshelves, where everything on here I haven't read or I haven't read in so long that I'm ready for a reread. And I like to keep it that way because I'm definitely a mood reader, and this gives me the opportunity to sort of just shop my own bookshelves rather than going to the shops and buying everything at a very expensive price. I like to pick up things used if I can and then shop from there when the mood strikes me. So anyway, I like to add to it each month, right? So I've got a bunch of books here to share with you guys. Some of them are gifts, some of them are things that I bought or found. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to share some footage from my trip to Carthage, Missouri a few weeks ago. It's only about an hour from where I live, but I like to go up there every few months and visit a friend. And she is a book lover just like me. And so we did a little bit of bookish things. We went to a couple of little free libraries. We did our own little book exchange, visited a thrift shop, whatever. I'll share with you guys all the stuff. And I love that town. It has a lot of really neat, like just historical buildings and a lot of old homes and cool architecture. And so I took some footage to share with you guys what it looks like if you've never been to Carthage, Missouri, or the Midwest at all, or even if you've never been to the US. I thought you guys would like to see some of that stuff. So that'll be after the book haul here at the end of the video. All right, let's get into it. So I'll begin with a really special book. This is a 1935 copy of Anne of Green Gables. This was 90 years old this year. And this was a gift from my friend that I went to visit. She was actually still in the middle of reading it, but she knows that I love vintage and antique books. And so she had another copy that she could go ahead and finish. So she moved her bookmark and gave me this book. And I thought that was really super sweet of her to do. And then she and I did a little book exchange. We both brought a bag of books that we, no longer wanted. And so I went through and found quite a few neat vintage books from her bag. This one is a Hardy Boys Mystery by Franklin W. Dixon. And I've never read anything, I've never read any Hardy Boys at all. So I might read it, we'll see. This is a Laura Ingalls Wilder book called On the Way Home. It is a nonfiction. It's one of her kind of memoirs about, it says the diary of a trip from South Dakota to Mansfield, Missouri in 1894. So Laura Ingalls Wilder is the author of the Little House on the Prairie series, which are fictional stories based on her childhood memories or just stuff that went on during that time. Not necessarily every story in that actually happened to her, but it's the general gist of life at that time, right? So this is actually, an actual memoir of her own personal memories. All right, and then another one from her. This is West from Home, Letters of Laura Ingalls Wilder, San Francisco, 1915. And I think Mom will have to tell us in the comments. But years ago, my mom and I went and visited the Laura Ingalls house in Mansfield, Missouri, which is just, 2 hours from here, maybe not quite 2 hours from here. And then my mom kind of went on this Laura Ingalls kick for a little bit and read some stuff. I remember her either telling me about this book, that it existed and she wanted to read it, or telling me that she had found it and had read it. So I can't remember, but I've not read it. And I don't know if I will keep it all the way until Epistolary January next year, or if I will read it sometime before that. But I thought this would be a really good book to have in my collection. Next up is this cool copy of The Scarlet Letter and Other Tales of the Puritans. I have not yet looked in there to see which of his short stories are added in here, but you all know that I love Nathaniel Hawthorne. That is what this collection is back here. You can't see the whole thing. Let's see if you can. Okay, the whole thing isn't all that big, but it's growing, and I'm going to add this to it. And won't that just be a great color to add in with all those? Yes, I think so. So aesthetically pleasing and literarily pleasing. All right, and then lastly, from Laura's pile, I got the A to Z of C.S. Lewis, an encyclopedia of his life, thought, and writings. Now, I know about C.S. Lewis, but I don't know like about him, right? I know he was the author of the Narnia series and the Screwtape Letters, but about him personally, or even his own personal philosophies and faith thoughts and philosophical whatevers. So this looks like it is a literal encyclopedia of things that have to do with him or his stories. So it may serve more as a reference than something to actually sit down and read for those who want to read his works, which I do eventually. So that'll be good. All right, since we're on the gifty vein, next up, I got this book, which I think is so cool. I'm really excited to add this to my collection because it's one of these neat vintage penguin, whatever, orangey, you know, you can see it, obviously. The Three Hostages by John Buchan. So this is the same guy that wrote the 39 Steps, which I really liked the 39 Steps. And so I wanted to get more of his stories. And I think that this story actually features the same main characters. I think there's 3 or 4 that feature that main character. So this was given to me by one of my online friends. And surprise to me, it's such a cool old vintagey copy. I'm really excited about that. That might be an adventure April book. This, I have no idea where I got this. So I don't know if this was gifted to me. Like, did my mom stick this in the box? Was this from the pile from my friend from Carthage? I really have no idea. But this is a short history of England. Maybe I got this at a little free library. I don't really know. I'm just kind of inserting it here in the video because I can't remember where it came from. But it was in my book haul pile. So it goes in this video. I think this will be really fun to go through. It was published in 1932. So it'll be interesting to see the perspective of this author from almost 100 years ago regarding the history of England. The actual history of England probably hasn't changed all that much, right? But the perspectives and how people look at history and interpret it definitely do change over time. So I think that will be interesting to go through. And then the last book that I ended up getting while I was in Carthage was this, Lessons at Blackberry Inn. This is by Karen Andriola. I found this one in a little free library. This might be the only thing I got from the little free library other than books for my kids. Now, Karen Andriola, if you are a homeschooler, you are aware of her. She's kind of like the mother of Charlotte Mason homeschooling methods in America. She basically brought the Charlotte Mason method over from England to America in the 90s and started teaching all the homeschool moms how to school their kids on a literature-based approach. So if you're interested in that, you can look up Charlotte Mason and Karen Andriola and all that stuff. So I was actually pen pals with Karen for several years. I have no idea how we actually ended up meeting online, but we were pen pals for a while. And then, you know, she has put out a few books and stuff. And so I was happy to find this. I don't have this yet. It's basically just like sweet stories about homeschoolers and their adventures and that kind of thing. And we are a homeschooling family, so thought that would be great. All right, and then the books that I purchased myself in March. First off, I got this really neat looking copy of The House on the Strand by Daphne du Maurier. I have read this before, but it's years ago and I wanted to reread it. But I thought this was such a neat cover. If you're not familiar with the story, I won't tell you too much, but basically the guy time travels. So here's time traveling him, and that's a hint of where he goes to. So I'm looking forward to that. I got this and then I was like, okay, I'm going to read it. I got all settled in to read it. And then the print was so tiny. I was like, I am not going to be able to read this any time past about 10 p.m. I got to read large print late at night. So I haven't actually started it yet. I picked up this copy of The Violin of Saint Jacques. Ooh, not sure. By Patrick Lee Fermer. This was recommended by booktubers, or booktubers, and I don't remember who, but it was on one of, you know, I just keep like a running list of stuff that you guys talk about that I think is so great and I want to pick it up for myself. Somebody recommended this, so I put it on my list and I got it. I don't even know what it's about, but it was on my list, so it must have sounded good at the time. I also purchased this copy of Hide and Seek by Wilkie Collins. I have loved everything I've read by Wilkie Collins at different degrees, obviously, but for the most part, like I really like everything that I've read by him. But this one, I actually had purchased these 3 books I'll talk about in a second, and it was one of those things on eBay where like if you buy 3, you get 1 free, right? So I was like, So I hunted around and found a Wilkie Collins. The three books I was actually looking for are these three. They're the sequels to the book that I talked about last month called The Red Runner, of the young girl in Afghanistan and how she had to pose as a boy to go out and, you know, earn money to help support her family. And so these are her sequels, all the stories that come after. It's actually a 4-part series, which I did not realize when I picked it up. I haven't looked too much even at the covers of these because it shows pictures from the story, and I haven't read the backs too much, right? Because it left on a cliffhanger, and so I don't want to know what happens, and so I'm just kind of trying not to look at them until I get to reading them, but I am going to have to at least look and see which one I got to read next. So yeah, looking forward to those. I purchased the complete Father Brown stories by G.K. Chesterton. I had these in the past. I have no idea where they ended up. This book I read a long time ago. I actually had it in a college course and loved it. It's Louisa May Alcott's mystery stories called Behind a Mask. It's a compilation of, there might be 3 or 4 of her mystery stories in here, and they're actually pretty good. And so thrillers, I guess. It says the unknown thrillers of Louisa May Alcott. So nothing to terrify you, trust me, but still fairly good stories. So I wanted to read those again. And then this also is a book that I had read in the past, Mary Stuart's Thornyhold. It's kind of one of those gothic, you know, it's one of those gothic novels that I enjoyed reading and ended up getting rid of. And then one of you on here actually showed it in a TBR video in the last couple of months. And I was like, oh, I remember I used to have that. I want to read that again. And so picked it up again. So those are the things that I bought. The final stack are books that my mom sent me. So as you guys know, my mom is so generous and regularly sends me boxes of books of things that she finds either at estate sales or in her little free libraries where she's just dinking around or whatever. So I'm going to show you the things that she sent. She sent these 3 books from the Anne of Green Gables series. There is Anne of Green Gables, the original first one. Then there is book number 4, Anne of Windy Poplars. And book number 6, Anne of Ingleside. That was sweet. She sent selections from Robert Louis Stevenson. This book contains letters and then portions of stories, it looks like, as well as full short stories. And this was a first edition from 1911. So I'd love to have these neat antique books in my collection. And Robert Louis Stevenson is especially special because when I was in the 4th grade, we had a poem party. We were all supposed to memorize a poem. And then on poem party day, we got all dressed up and there was cookies and our parents came and listened to us recite our poems. Mine was My Shadow by Robert Louis Stevenson. And so that's why this is special. My mom remembers that. It was a special day for her too. Ooh, can you guys hear that thunder out there? We have been having storms yesterday morning. It started before we even got up. So we are in Northwest Arkansas and we haven't seen any tornadoes in our area in this round of storms. Hopefully there won't be any, but Eastern Arkansas has been hit pretty hard. Parts of Missouri, I think, I'm not sure where all, but I was reading yesterday in Eastern Arkansas, some of those little towns got really slammed with some big tornadoes. So hate that. We've never actually been through one here at our house, as far as one that was damaging, to our house. But there have been a couple of times when, I've seen them and been there. It's just, I went to a safe place or whatever, and we didn't actually experience any damage or hurt from it. But we're hoping that that's not the case. It's been pretty cool. And usually if the weather stays cool, then the tornadoes aren't too bad. It's when you have like a really hot day, right? And then the cold air comes, that's when you get the really big tornadoes. But we have had a lot of rain and we are under a flood watch now. And yeah, it's probably going to be pretty floody out there here by the end of the weekend. I think this is supposed to go on for the next 3 days. So anyway, back to the books. Okay, so we've got King Arthur and His Knights. Mom sent this. This is the Henry Frith collection. And I do have actually a couple other books in this actual collection. It's the Junior, I can't read, Junior Deluxe Edition. So if that's the name of the collection, I guess. But it has all these fun little pictures on the inside. And this kind of, you know, Sunday school lesson artwork. I love books like this. So that will be fun. And it's the perfect side quest for Historathon, right? And then finally, she picked up another one of these really neat antique children's books. This is the easy to read storybook. It looks like it was first given to Sophia from a teacher, Mrs. Hazen, for Christmas of 1923. And then Sophia went on to write her name all over it, as did Veronica, and do a little coloring. The book is a storybook with illustrations, but I think that there's also, like, if you can tell, some of the words are hyphenated where their syllables, you know, where their syllables are divided up, like mother, together, have these dividers, little hyphens, to help the children read and distinguish between the syllables. So I think that's fun, right? It's a pretty illustration. So I have a pretty good collection of these, and I do like to not only just, you know, read them and enjoy the artwork, but a lot of this artwork is not under copyright anymore, and so you can kind of copy it and use it in crafting, you know, if you're wanting to do your junk journal or whatever. It's kind of fun to trace or photocopy some of these and color them and whatever to use in your journaling. Some neat vintage images that we don't always see. So that is my book haul for March. Lots of nice gifts and things. Hope everybody's doing well. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.